Here we go, last problem. For this one, I will choose red. Let's factor the first one. Let's look at the numerator first, okay, up here. They don't have a greatest common factor, unfortunately, so we multiply 10, first term, by the constant term, negative 10, and we get negative 100. We need factors of negative 100 that add up to be positive 21. So Mr. Hines is going to think about that for a minute. That would be 25 and negative 4. And so we'll factor this, and we'll do it with a bottoms-up method. N plus 25 and n minus 4. We divide both of those by the leading coefficient, 10. And we can simplify both of these, but none of them divide perfectly. So that divides out to 5 over 2, and 4 over 10 simplifies to 2 over 5. So we still have some bottoms of the fraction to move up to the numerator. And so when you do this, I would always just be careful. I would look at, so we got 2n plus 5. Make sure you didn't lose any common factors or anything. 5n minus 2. Okay. So let's multiply this out in our heads and see if we got the same thing. 2n times 5n, that gets us 10n squared. Aw, they're not n's, they're v's. It's okay, I'm going to solve it with n's. It'll be fine. And in the last second, I'll change it to v's again. Okay, then we have 5 times 5n, that's 25n. And then minus 2 times 2 is 4, minus 4, and that's 21n. So there's the middle term. And then 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So we're good. Can put our division line here. Now we need to factor the bottom. Again, we do not have a greatest common factor to factor out. So we're stuck with negative 50. Factors of negative 50 that add up to negative 5. How about negative 10 and positive 5? So we will have n minus 10, n plus 5, and both of those will be divided by the leading coefficient, 25. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 over 25 simplifies to 1 over 5, and we bring the bottoms of our fractions up. When we do that, we're left with 5n minus 2 and 5n plus 1. Yippee! We already have a 5n minus 2 over a 5n minus 2, and that equals 1. Alright, this is being multiplied by another thing we've got to factor. So I'm going to have to commandeer some space over here. Come on. And we'll factor these in green just to try to keep them separate. So let's look up here. 2v squared plus 9v plus 10. No common factors, so we multiply 2 times 10 and we get 20. And we need factors of 20 that add up to 9, 5, and 4. So that leaves us with n plus 5 and n plus 4. But they are both being divided by 2 because that was our leading coefficient. And so we get 5 doesn't divide by 2, so we bottoms up. 2n plus 5. But 4 does divide by 2, so we just have n plus 2. And so that goes over here, 2n plus 5 times n plus 2. And for the last one, I'll factor it in. 5v squared minus 14v minus 3. No common factors. What do? 5 times negative 3, negative 15. Factors of negative 15 then that add up to the middle term, negative 14. I bet that's going to be negative 15 and positive 1. So n minus 15 times n plus 1. Leading coefficient's 5, so that's what we divide both of these factors by. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. 1 divided by 5, that's as simple as it gets, so we bring the 5 up in front of the n, bottoms up. We get n minus 3 and 5n plus 1. Last step, look for things to simplify. We have a bunch of nothing. Why do we have a bunch of nothing? You know why? Because Mr. Hines didn't pay attention to this division sign. What does that mean? If we want to multiply, it means we had to flip the numerator and the denominator. So let me rewrite this. Oops. 2n plus 5 over 5n plus 1 times, okay, n minus 3 is what should be in the numerator, and 5n plus 1 divided by 2n plus 5 and n plus 2. Alright, let's see where that takes us. Alright, now we have this n plus 2n plus 5 over 2n plus 5, 5n plus 1 over 5n plus 1, and that leaves us with n minus 3 over n plus 2, not to forget that these are actually v's. V minus 3 over v plus 2. Alright, I'll have plenty of you mad at me because you'll think, why didn't he flip that fraction? Why didn't he multiply by the reciprocal? Why did he just multiply by the original? Well, because sometimes we don't pay attention. Lesson learned, pay attention. When you're dividing, you have to flip that second fraction and then multiply. Make sure you flip it, and then you can multiply. Glad we figured it out in the end, and we'll see you on Tuesday.